Chauhan, and in today's video session we will discuss array in Scala. Before moving ahead, let's look at the structure of an array in any language. With respect to any language, what would be the structure of an array is almost same everywhere. Probably the indexing could be different and depends on the language you are going to use, but the structure usually is same everywhere. So as you know that we can store element in sequential order, and we can access the array element using index of the array as well. So let's say we have an array of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 size. So as if you find out the size, let's say the array is z, and you call a function size, and it would return 7 because we have 7 elements in this array. Let's say we store 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So let's say z is the array. So to access these elements using an index in Scala, you have to use simple bracket like this. This will return you 3. If you use these square brackets, you will not get anything because you are not supposed to access index of an array using square brackets. So this is not applicable. Always remember, when you are dealing with array, make sure you go with the function brackets or simple brackets. Okay. There are few things related to array. The very first thing is, when you declare an array, you have to provide the size of the array during that declaration. And the second thing about array is, you cannot resize the array once you have declared. So these two factors are very unique about array, that you have to decide the size of the array during declaration. Okay, and you cannot resize the array once you have declared. Let's say you have declared the size of the array is 3, and then later you want to add new elements into the array. Let's say 4, you want to resize it to 4, which is not possible in array. So these characteristics are unique about array. To understand array, let's have an example in the from the coding perspective. If we can understand this, let's understand line by line. So in line number 6, as you can see over here, we have declared a variable which is z1. This type and the array you have to define using colon operator. Okay, but it is not mandatory. I'll discuss this. One thing is not mandatory, but for better expression, to understand it better, it is better to use the type of the array as well during the declaration. But in order to create an array, you have to use new keyword, the array keyword, and then you have to decide the type of the array and provide the type of the array in the square bracket. And along with that, you have to use the simple bracket or the function bracket and provide the size of the array. So this is one way to declare a variable of 3 size of a string type of array. The another way is, you can opt to you can you can erase this term, and you can directly use this right hand side as it is. And this is also the way to declare a string array of size 3. Okay, because if you are giving the size, the type of the array over here and the size of the array over here, then this is optional. Okay, this is for better representation. And to populate the array, you can simply use the array name, the simple function brackets, and provide the index, and then you have to provide the type, the data of the type you have mentioned above. So in Z2 we have different elements. Another thing, you can provide an expression instead of index. So the compiler would provide the final output of that calculation as an index. So 4 divided by 2 would be 2. So at Z2, cloud would be stored. So it means 0, 1, 2 index, the array would hold Akash, sky and cloud. Another way to represent an array is simply go with the array and then you populate the array without giving any size, and the compiler would find the size for you by counting the number of elements you have passed as a parameter into the array. So you would have 3 size string array. You can provide any data type instead of a string. You can provide float, integer, double, or anything you want to work upon, right? So these are 4 ways to declare an array. You can choose according to your need, but all are easy to use. How to print an array in Scala is also depends on what kind of code you want to use, and which function you want to use. And let's say we have 3 ways to print an array. The first is simply looping all the element using the size of the array. So using for loop from uh, I0 to iz size -1. So this will iterate till you will reach to the last element, and then again to access the element you have to use the function bracket instead of a square bracket and the array name. So this is very simple. This is by looping you can access the element of the array. There is another functionality provided by Scala that you can use directly for each over the array you have created. So the array would have this for each function in which you can pass print or println, and if you provide this underscore, it will print all the elements of z2 array. Okay. The another way to print an array is to convert that array into a string using make a string function in which you pass the separator, okay, or delimiter for that string. So this string will be created, and after every element of the array, let's say Akash is the first element, this delimiter would be added. Okay, so eventually this string data would become a line or a string containing all the elements of the array in just one line with this separator or delimiter. So this is these are main ways to print an array. You can use any of these method or approach to print the element of the array according to your need. The another thing is how to create a multi-dimensional array. It is very simple. You have to use array library and of dim method of that library, in which you have to pass the type of the array and then the dimensions as x and y for that array. So this my matrix would be a 2-dimensional array of 3 cross 3 matrix. So how to iterate this matrix is, it is very simple. You iterate over I, you iterate over this j, and then you use the simple function brackets instead of square brackets. Usually, let's say in C++ or Java, you go with the square brackets, but in Scala, you have to use these function brackets or simple brackets, okay, to access the location of that element and then provide the value. So you can populate an 2D matrix like this. How to print the 2D matrix? It is very simple. I have simply copy pasted this code over here, and instead of writing and assigning a value to a particular location, I have written print, okay, and then I'm accessing the element what I have populated earlier. So this is how you go with the printing of all the elements of a 2D array. What else we can do with the array? We can create 2 array and we can concatenate those array into one. We can create a single array out of 2 arrays. So let's say we have created one array. This is the second array using direct expression of array, and provide the list the elements into that array. There is a function called concat of list in which you can provide the array, and it will convert this whole 2 list into one list. And how you can iterate over a list? This is very simple. In case of list, you can provide the name of the list, and for each member or each element of that list, you can perform some operation. So I am printing that all the elements of the final list. So this is how you can concatenate two arrays. How to create array with a range? It means you don't want to populate an array by looping, but instead you use the range method of an array, in which you pass the starting and the end element of the array, and with the first element, what would be the second element will be based on the third expression you have passed, or the third parameter you have passed. It means the values from the initial array value will be increased by 2. So in my list 4, the element of my list 4 would be 10, 12, 14 till it reaches to 20. In case of my list 5, we are using the range method of array, in which we are passing only two variables. It means the starting element and the ending element. It means by default it will increase the element by 1, but with the third parameter, if you pass, you can simply increase the element with a particular number. Okay, you can improve, you can increase the number by 3, 4 according to your need. And how to print again the element, because it is similar to a list. So the list, we have to provide the list like this, and for each element we are printing. Okay, so for both list or array, we are printing the element of the array. So without any further ado, let me execute it, and then we can map the output of this code with the output of this code with the code we have written over here. So let me compile it. So the code of my file, the name of the file is unit 4. This is a simple warning of deprecation, we can ignore. Let's run the code. So first it is printing all the elements of the array into one single row. So it is coming from this line. Okay, so this for each element, okay, till we are reaching to the size 0 to n minus 1, or the size minus 1. It is iterating and it is printing. Next it is printing all the elements like this. So if you simply pass this, it will print the element in a new line every time, because we have used println. So if you simply do not use println and simply print, it will make element in just one line without any comma or space. So it would be look like Akash, sky and cloud in just one line without any space or comma. So instead of print, we have used println. So at every element it is using println. It means it is printing and then flushing the temporary space and coming to the next line. This is the functionality of println. Now we have the this string making concept of printing a product string. So we are making all the elements by comma separator, making it into a string and then printing it. So as you can see, the element of the array comes into one line because of this make string method. Okay, multi-dimensional array, this is only a declaration, this is population, so nothing to print. Here the matrix will be printed of 0 1 2 0 1 2 0 1 2. So this is the matrix we have printed according to this. You can directly use println without even using these function brackets in Scala. This will allow you to do that, to come to the next line. Concatenate to array, simply nothing to print over here. Print would start from here. So the element would be 1.9, 2.9. So we are using println. So that's why output is coming to the next line every time. This is clear. Now come to the range array. It means this first array is till 10, 12, 14, 16 till 18, because it will be increased by 2. This one thing you need to remember, that when you are using range, the initial value will be included into the element of the array, but this last element will not be included, whether you are going to use the third parameter or not. So this code will iterate till from 10, 11, 12 till 19, and this particular range of the element will be iterated from 10 to 18. Okay, this one thing always remember, that last element in the range will never be included. So if you want to include 20, then iterate till 21. In that case 20 will always be counted. uh, to print these arrays using the range, okay, because sometimes you don't want to the advantage of using this range is because you are declaring the array, you are populating the element of the array as well. So these are the element of the array. For that you are not populating it using the another for loop. So directly using the range you can provide you can populate an array, and this is how you simply print an array or the list. Okay, so this is all for this video session. In this video session we have learned how to work upon an array, how to declare an array, what are the types or the ways we can declare an array. We have learned 4 such ways. How to print an array, we have learned 3 such ways. How to declare an 2D array or multi-dimensional array, this is very simple. If you go with the third dimension 3-dimensional array, pass another parameter like this over here. So this is very simple. To build an matrix, it is very simple. Use to loop. To print an matrix, use another to loop. Instead of accessing the element, simply print those elements, and rest we have discussed as earlier. Okay, if you have any doubt you can comment down to this video and I'll get back to you. Okay, and along with that, at the end of this part, unit 4 or part 4, I'll provide you an assignment related to all the concepts we are learning in this part. Okay, part 4 or section 4. Okay, so this is all for this video. Thank you so much and have a good day.